Hello, everybody. Welcome back to AI Safari, Season 1, Episode 3. Today's topic, Dell's digital AI platform, democratizing data science. With me today is my colleague, Mark Thomas. How you doing, Mark?
Good, good. Thanks, Eric. That's right, folks. Welcome to another episode of AI Safari. Today, we're going to talk a bit about how we advance AI within Dell. And that's really spanning, I would say, a cross-section of data science expertise and capabilities. We're also going to touch on how and where we incorporate centralized and federated approaches to data science. And who better to walk us through this than Dell's very own Francisco Garcia. Francisco is Director of Enterprise AI and Data Science Capabilities. Hey, Francisco, thank you, and so glad you could carve out some time to be with us today.
Well, thank you very much, Eric and Mark, for having me here. I'm very excited to have this conversation.
Awesome, we are too. But before we jump in, would you mind giving us a little bit of background about yourself?
Yes. So I've been part of Dell Digital. I've been here for roughly 11 years, and my career has been centered around the initial part of my career was centered around our enterprise sales applications like Dell.com, Premier, DSA, and product management. And I've always been very passionate about data and data science and automation. So the other half, that for the past 6 years, I've been highly involved in driving insights through data, modernizing our engineering practices. And more recently, for the past 2 years, I've had the opportunity to help create our own Dell Digital AI platform that is supporting hundreds of data scientists across the company.
Fantastic.
Sounds fabulous. I guess, question for me, Francisco, is so you're leading the Dell's digital AI platform. Would you mind explaining how the digital AI platform came about? Why is it important for Dell? And then maybe even expand upon that and kind of maybe talk a little bit about how this work can translate to our Dell customers.
Absolutely. So where to start is such an interesting topic, but I think it all started a few years back when we started receiving a lot of feedback around it being very hard to do data science at Dell. And it was interesting because it's something that started coming in from multiple places in our business units. And obviously at Dell Digital, we're extremely user-centered, and everything we do every single day is try to improve the experience of all our users, be that a customer that comes to Dell.com or a team member that wants to achieve great things with data science. So the first kind of task that we said is like, well, who's using data science and who's doing it? So who are these team members and what are their needs? So and it was interesting. So that was 2 years ago. So that's 2019 calendar year. And the first insight was like, well, AI and machine learning is not the future. It's already happening. So at that time, we identified very quickly around 28 data science teams across the company. They were in functions such as in sales, marketing, services, finance, HR, digital, supply chain, and so on and so forth. So it was a fantastic insight of, hey, so it's not the future, it's already happening. And a lot of what we found is that as we started learning about is the reason this has been happening and continues to grow here at Dell is that essentially making better decisions from data represents a transformational opportunity for almost all our business units and all our operations, right? So if I try to simplify it is if you're leading one of our businesses or one of our big organizations at Dell, and you're that leader, you already know you're sitting on data that has a lot of the answers that you need to optimize the business. So a lot of that stems from that just vision that our leadership has. It's like, hey, we believe there's a future when we can be much faster in taking the right actions for our customers that will drive better results. So almost everyone is pursuing two objectives, right? One, being able to serve our Dell customers better, and also being able to optimize the performance of our business. And it all starts with the customer. If the customer is doing great, then we'll have a healthy business and so on. So what's been happening is that all these leaders have been forming teams, data science teams. They typically start very small. It's not unusual to find them starting with 1 or 2 team members in the team, but everyone's getting great results, and it's a growth area. So that's kind of like where we started. And today we have roughly around a little bit more than 60 teams around Dell that have at least one data science function. And we estimate that our population, data-centric population, as we call it, like data engineers, data scientists, AI and ML engineers, it's around probably close to 2,000 team members at Dell engaging in these activities. So it's certainly something that we grew into, and it's growing very fast.
Yeah, I had no idea that there was that many folks involved.
I didn't either.
No, and I think, I know I myself, when I speak with customers, right, I try to tell them, hey, we're doing these operations here at Dell Technologies. We can institute some of these plans in your own institution as well. And I think it really helps tell the story to be able to talk about what we're doing internally at Dell. And our customers seem to resonate with that.
Yeah, and so that's what we found. Absolutely, and that's what we found 2 years ago, and we saw this direction of really, okay, we believe this is going to be happening more, right? So we took these insights, these learnings about what was happening to our executive leadership, and we got the opportunities. Like we said, hey, it's possible that we can do something here, and not just do something about this experience, but also we believe that we can be doing something using our own Dell products. Like we can really show ourselves and our customers how a Dell and Dell stack can help team members succeed in data science. So that's where we started, and we started with a small team of 6 engineers. And today, our capabilities are growing very fast. So as of today, we have more than 650 team members onboarded in our AI and machine learning platform.
That's great. So let's dig in a little bit here. As a goal of democratizing data science capabilities, again, for a cross-section of expertise within Dell, what's your position on centralized versus federated data science approaches?
Yeah, I think I've had the opportunity to learn a lot from our Dell customers when we have the opportunity to show them what we're doing. And we typically see 2 flavors, just as you mentioned. There's one flavor, which is the centralized model, where we see a lot of companies saying, hey, we believe we have a big opportunity to create AI and machine learning processes. So let's go in and push those out into all our business units. Let's go in, do a project in finance and marketing. And that's typically a centralized model. And there's a lot of companies that are pursuing that, and that's how they're growing. The other flavor that we see is this federated operating model, right? And that is what we found that was happening here internally at Dell. So a federated model means that we're moving into a future where everyone has the opportunity to participate and leverage these technologies to improve their own job. So the fact that what we experience in a federated model is that the teams, the data science teams and the data science work it's actually happening very close to our customers and very close to our business problems. So all these teams are embedded and they have intimate knowledge of the business unit. So from my experience in being able to see several versions of this, I think there's equal success in each of the two. But how you shape the support and the encouragement of this to grow is just what it's important to get right.
Yeah, I find that in my conversations with customers, and it's customers of all verticals and sizes, that's still very hotly debated, centralized versus federated. So for your data science platform, can you share a little bit about what you got under the hood there?
Yes, absolutely. So let me just branch from that federated concept. So a lot of what I, at least my perspective of how I see the space, most of the work around data science, AI, and machine learning is driven a lot by open source frameworks like TensorFlow, PyTorch, MXNet, Dask, Spark, so on and so forth. And the number of technologies available in the open source data science ecosystem, it's probably in the thousands. So a lot of my perspective is that a lot of these teams, data science teams, are working. It's like they've described it to me as like R&D activities, research and development. Like it's very sciencey work, right? Like we know we can solve things through data, but we need to generate an hypothesis, we need to test things, and we need to go very, very rapidly. So for us, the premise around just knowing how data science and how the stack looks is what drove a lot of the decisions of how it looks under the hood. So recognizing that, you know, and there's a lot of industry perspectives where it says machine learning is one of the technology areas that's most rapidly evolving and is one of the hardest ones to keep up with. So knowing all this premise, how like just the amount of open source we have out there, the speed of innovation that data science teams need, and just the technological progress that's happening in the space, that's a lot of what was the guiding principles of what we started putting under the hood. So under the hood, to answer your question specifically, is the way we do things is we basically use containers to be able to provide the flexibility to support any kind of open source or workspace that our data science teams use. So our primary architecture choice that we made is, hey, we're going to operate the space from an IT perspective. We're going to operate it in a very open fashion using a container as a basic first building block. We use Kubernetes to orchestrate the container and operate and be able to manage. And underneath Kubernetes, we use Tanzu. We have our standard arrays, rack arrays are run by PowerEdge 740s. And we also, our stack is enabled by block storage using Scale.io. And our backbone to move data in and out is leveraging object storage with Dell ECS. So basically what we have under the hood is specifically designed to help us maximize the flexibility and our ability to adjust to the tools that data scientists need, but also doing it so in a scalable way, right? In a way that it's efficient from an infrastructure perspective, in a way that protects the data that is being used to create these models, and also in a way that delivers a security framework that can help put this in a sustainable and secure manner, right? Everything I've just mentioned is part of the Dell family today. So it's a Dell on Dell solution, and it's proven and enabled us to be almost 70 to 80% more efficient in the infrastructure consumption in the space. which is crucial, right? In a space where people require more compute, having that efficiency, it's a huge plus for us.
Absolutely.
I think Francisco, we need to have you back and dig more into that, because that's getting into stuff that Eric and I really enjoy. But no time today.
No, I definitely agree with you, Mark. I think, for us, we always like to, as we finish up a podcast with one of our guests, we always like to conclude sort of with a fun question, sort of outside of work, right? So I guess, Francisco, I know you live in the Austin area. Outside of work, I guess what's one of your favorite things to do, or a hobby, you like to share?
Oh, wow, absolutely. Look, I'm a runner and I enjoy playing golf, but my summer activity in Austin, and one that I'm itching to get going in the next couple of weeks that I haven't had the opportunity this summer, is water sports. Specifically, well, not water sports, let's call it water experiences. So one of my favorite activities is either tubing on the Guadalupe River, or paddleboarding in Lady Bird Lake.
Wow.
If anyone is listening to this podcast and you live in Austin and you haven't tried it, it's a must do. And if anyone is listening and has the opportunity to visit Austin, I highly recommend it, to test them and experience one of each. That is for me like a fun thing I like to do, and I like to do it with friends, with my family, and it's extremely enjoyable.
Oh, that sounds fabulous. No, I actually had a thought about going out and paddleboarding this coming weekend myself. So, I definitely understand, the joy behind it.
And if I offer a tip, just make sure that you have a cooler with you with some cool drinks and waters and sodas, so that you can enjoy your time on the water.
Absolutely.
Man, I could not agree more. I'm from Austin and have done both of those things, along with the cooler of refreshing beverages. And it's definitely a must do when you go to Austin. So that's awesome. Francisco, thank you again for joining us today. It's been awesome. We'd love to have you back and talk about some of the other cool things you're working on. And for our audience, please stay tuned for our next podcast, where we'll track down another really smart person to chat with. Thanks.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you, Mark.